This is the aftermath of another deadly militant attack in the Afghan capital Kabul. Much of the city is practically turned into a high-security zone, guarded by government forces. But authorities are still failing to prevent the Taliban, the ISIL, and other extremist groups from carrying out terrorist operations. The government's headaches are not limited to the capital Kabul at all. Taliban militants have stepped up operations nationwide following the announcement of the spring offensive in April. The government has been struggling to keep control of strategic areas amid an intensified push by the militants. The Taliban seized a district in the northern province of Baghlan a few days ago. The group is now keeping up pressure on security forces in the central city of Ghazni. The Taliban militant group is proving resilient despite intensified Western military support for the government. The United States has stepped up airstrikes in support of Afghan government forces. America's involvement in the war has deepened since U.S. President Donald Trump came into office.
Nobody in Afghanistan wants the United States there. Nobody. I mean, that's a fiction. They've suffered for 16 years with this occupation. Now, when people say, oh, well, if NATO and the United States leaves, there'll be a power vacuum and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but that begs the question of why were they there to begin with, and why have they stayed there for 16 years?
Things on the ground have not been going as U.S. officials want. A U.S. military watchdog has painted a gloomy picture of the U.S. involvement in the country. It says Taliban militants are taking over huge parts of the nation. The report contradicts the optimism projected by top U.S. generals. Following the release of the report, U.S. Senator Rand Paul said that the United States must withdraw from Afghanistan now. He described the war as a colossal waste of taxpayer dollars. Estimates show that the U.S. will spend $45 billion in Afghanistan this year alone.
The United States doesn't see this war in terms of winning or losing. They simply see it in terms of making money, and they make massive amounts of money. Now, you know, there are other reasons the U.S. stays in Afghanistan. It's a you know, geographically in a crucial place that in which, you know, it is surrounded by China, Russia, Iran, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and so forth. And Afghanistan is also rich in rare earth minerals. It has rich deposits of iron ore. There's a lot of resources yet to be extracted.
The Afghan war is the longest in America's history. It has cost U.S. taxpayers trillions of dollars so far. Afghanistan was the first country attacked by America as part of its so-called war on terror following the 9/11 attacks in 2001. 17 years on, the war-ravaged country has turned into a breeding ground for militancy, while the U.S. is struggling to make sense of what's happening on the ground. The U.S.-led intervention in Afghanistan has created a security vacuum where extremists, even more dangerous and ruthless than the Taliban, are sprouting and finding a foothold.
It's been 16 years. The U.S. government and the military never have an answer for why they are there. The best they can come up with is, oh, we're fighting terrorism. And I mean, this is ludicrous at this point. But people make a huge amount of money. It's not just defense contractors like Boeing and Raytheon and General Dynamics and those people, but it's the companies like Halliburton and the Carlyle Group and Kellogg Brown and Root that, you know, put out oil well fires or get contracts to rebuild the infrastructure and so forth.
Experts are warning that despite the deteriorating security situation, U.S. policymakers are unwilling to put militarism away and get to the roots of the problems.